What's up, Not.Just developers? Today is day 6 of DEVember, and we are continuing our 1 month long marathon of React Native tutorials. The topic of today's video is going to be the famous Tinder Swipe Animation, and in today's video you're gonna learn how to first implement the Tinder card, the user interface, then we're gonna work on the animation, and we're gonna learn how to do that with React Native Reanimated. In the end, the result is going to be something like this. We're going to have a Tinder cards, and the focus is going to be on the actual animation. Today, I'm joined by a special guest, Catalin Miron, who I'm going to introduce a bit later. But before that, let me quickly update about the DEVember event. So during December, we are doing one live tutorial every single day about React Native, and where we try to teach you important features that would help you in your development process. We have individual projects every day, and everything is happening here on YouTube. And make sure to subscribe to the channel not to miss future videos. Also, if you have ideas, feel free to share them in the idea board. The link to the idea board you will find in the description below, and vote for the other ones that you would like us build. DEVember is not only about learning, it's also about giving back, because during this month we are running a fundraiser called Education for Children, where we are supporting the Save the Children organization in their effort to provide education worldwide to every children. If you're interested, you can donate right away here on YouTube, and we also have some incentives if you do so. I want to say thank you, Rogelio, Vale, Travis, and other people who already donated. That means a lot. And during December, we are also going to donate $100 for every 1,000 subscribers, for every new 1,000 subscribers that we're gonna get during December. But now I think we are all ready to go to get started with the topic of today's video, and allow me to introduce Catalin Miron. Catalin, here you are. How are you doing? Yeah, I think the whole Europe is under the snow right now. Oh, wow. Yeah, we were discussing for a very long time to do something together, and I'm happy that during this event, we finally found a project that we can do together, and I'm excited to learn more about animations from you. If you don't know Catalin has a YouTube channel about React Native animations, and he also has the Animate React Native. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Yeah, it's really an impressive resource for animations. It has a lot of them. Here I'm sharing the website, and I'm sharing some of them. Have you done the Tinder swipe animation before on the YouTube channel, or? Oh, Mm-hmm. I see here you have that tarot cards animation. Will that help us in today's animation because it also has like this radial swipe left and right? Oh yeah. Yep. 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 The gesture. Otherwise cancel. Yep. Yeah, I also think so. Let's start with UI. Probably the first step is going to be to implement the card, then to put them into a stack, and after that, figure out the animation part. So for everyone who is following along, we have a repository on GitHub for this project. And if you clone the repository and then simply move to the git checkout, day 6 dash start, we're going to all start from the same code base. Here we already have a couple of days. Oh, that's bad. Yeah. Cannot hear Catalan. Is it in every scene or is it maybe... No, here it's enabled as well. Oh, wow. Yeah. So, Mixer, what's happening here? It's coming from the collab track and it's enabled. Oh boy. What if we quickly go ahead and join a Zoom just to have it as a backup? Because that will, at least that will somehow work. One second. It's weird because I see like in the mixer, the sound is working properly. Yeah, in the OBS mixer. And I'm gonna put it somewhere here. in the coding screen, instead of a collab, we're going to do a window. Okay, and waiting for Catalin to join Zoom. Yeah, in a second, Catalin is going to join Zoom. Here is Catalin. Yes. Can you open the camera? Yes, you can. Just make it a little bit bigger so that everyone can see Catalin. Here we have. Can you say something? Oh boy. I don't think it still works.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, now I think they will be able.
One. Testing audio.
At least I can hear you, and we need a way for you to see my display, right? Is it possible for you to open the YouTube? Will it be the delay too much? I think it should work. And let me just quickly do the same here. We have two Catalins for a moment. Oh, Streamlab is holding up. I'm doing too many things at the same time.
Yeah, for me it's not the case anymore because I am on the N3 Max, so he's going to handle it.
It doesn't want to delete a scene. Come on. Okay, here on the code part, everything looks good. It should be laggy for a second, but hey guys, can you confirm if you can hear us, see everything? Catalin, you're here?
1, 2, 3. Yep, I'm still here.
Yes, doing live checks. Yeah, during sound checks in the live. Yes, I see that someone said everything is good. Yeah, it's not Catalin's fault. Everything is on me. But anyway, I hope by the end of the tutorial, like what you're gonna learn is going to be worth a short wait here. So here we have our project, and as I said, we are already at day 6. We have implemented some interesting features previously, but today we're going to focus on this Tinder Swipe Animation. So I have a home screen, and I also have a Tinder screen where we will start working. So if I go here, go Tinder, that's the screen we're going to focus today. For the card, let's start by implementing it into a separate component right away. So let's go ahead, call it day 6. And we're going to need the, I don't know, the Tinder card. Let's call it like that.
Vadim, sorry to interrupt you, but can you also share the screen in the Streamlabs? I think it's better.
In
There is a
Streamlabs,
15th, yeah, the link that you've shared initially.
in the collab.
Because on YouTube,
Okay.
on YouTube, I have 20 seconds delay, so it's going to be pretty hard.
Do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay,
Great.
that's good. Okay, so we have a Tinder card. It's a simple text. Let's simply render it on the screen in our Tinder screen.
But I can see my Zoom call, not the code.
Not the code. Oh, it's display capture. Now, is it display?
Yes. Great. Yeah, it's amazing.
Perfect. Okay, so we have a Tinder card. Let's have a look at the UI. The card is quite simple. What do we need? An image and name, age, and that's it. Should we keep it simple?
Yeah, and later we are going to add maybe nope and yes if, but that's
Yeah.
for later, I believe.
Yeah, that is for the animation, like the yes and the nope. Okay, so we're gonna start with defining probably the style sheet to already see something on the screen. So as we said, we're gonna have an image. The image needs a source with its URI that I don't have yet, but we're gonna find some images in a moment. Then we're gonna have a text here for the name, and probably that's it, just keeping it simple. Let's give some styles. My animation here, like when doing the hot refresh, gets stuck on this screen. There is a small bug probably there, but I always have to restart it. Styles.name. Not this one. Image doesn't exist. Yep, image doesn't exist. Quickly importing it. And we have some text there. For the image, do you have any images on your hand, or I'll find something from my dummy data?
I think dummy data it's better. You can even render the same image. By the way, I was just thinking it is better to share the screen directly in the Zoom chat, in the Zoom
let me
call.
see if only if it will properly work. So share. And I don't want to see my share screen. I want to see you. It's a bit of a problem. You know, like when I share, I cannot see you. You become a pop-up.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, I cannot share it for Zoom. Is it very laggy? It's very behind?
No, don't worry about it. You can, yeah, we can figure it out. You can revert it. Yeah.
Okay. We will need your input and your help during the animations. with a UI. I'm doing it. Okay, so I have some dummy datas, but I'm really not sure what they actually are. So, okay, here we have one. Let's do a dummy profile that later will be received through the properties. Now we need the image URL and a name. And probably an ID. So for this image, we can use it in the to render it. Let's go ahead and render profile.image. And for the name, we're going to have profile.name. At this moment, we're not going to see the image because we need to style it. So let's add the styles for the card. Let's add the styles for the image. And the styles for the name. So as soon as we are going to give some width and height, should I start with 100%? Flex 1. I just want to see it on the screen. Come on. I think I pasted it 2 times.
Yeah, the URL is wrong.
Yeah, now it's better. How would you style the sizes of a card?
I think I can, it's either based on the screen width, right? So,
yep.
Or we can define it outside as a constant. I don't know, a hard-coded value or based on the screen size. But it should be somehow outside, so you can have access to it or where you render the list itself, and also for the card. Because based on this width, we can define how much to move on the left and on the right. Right.
So would you recommend having a hard-coded width exported from here?
Yeah, usually I use the golden ratio. So I define the width as, let's say, 80% of the screen width, and height is going to be the width multiplied by 1.67.
67, so with an aspect ratio. Okay,
yes.
So for the Tinder card, do we go with a hard-coded, I don't know, value like this?
You can also import width and height from dimensions. You can import dimensions from React Native and do width const width height it's equal to dimensions that gets
screen dot width. Multiply by, you said you don't want full width, you want 80% or how much?
Yeah, 80% dot 8.
0.8.
And a good thing, it's usually I name the constants differently. It's definitely lowercase, like star case is lowercase, and yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And the height is going to be this Tinder card width multiplied by 1.67.
Multiplied by 1.67. What's this 1.67? Is it the
Is the golden ratio? Is the golden ratio?
What if we use the aspect ratio 1.67 without having to multiply it? Or it's the other way around?
It should be 167 by 1, I believe, divided by 1.
But if it's divided by 1, by simply sending it like this, like it's the. But I think it's the other way around. 1 divided by this, right?
Yeah, it's width and height. Then yeah, this is the correct thing. Yeah.
Okay. Now for the image, maybe we can use a flex 1.
I'll do directly in line style sheet dot absolute fill object, and then I'll add styles dot image, so you can do whatever with it.
Would you do it like this here, style sheet dot absolute fill object, or you would combine them together in an array when you send the styles?
It's an array. It's an array, and I'll do it in line. Style sheet absolute fill object. It's in line. There is no performance difference between inline styles and style sheet create besides the reusability. I don't know.
And maybe to put the styles of the image afterwards.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So we have something like this. We need some round corners. That's definitely for sure. I am an expert in that. Border radius 10, 15.
It should be overflow hidden.
Yes, an overflow hidden because the image is overflowing and it's visible. But if we say overflow hidden, the image everything that overflows will be hidden. Okay.
One thing here is that if you're going to apply any box shadow, it's not going to work.
Yes. So in that case, that's very true. Like if we go ahead and generate some shadows, which I think we will, I'm always going to this generator. Not sure who built it, but it's quite useful. Like something like this. And I can add the shadow. And it's not going to be visible because the shadow is also something that overflows. So we will have to disable the overflow hidden. And how I solve it is I add the same border radius to the image as well. And now the image also is rounded, and the shadow is visible below. Okay, so for the name is rendered after the image, but I think we need the... Oh, but that's the absolute fill. So for the name, align self, will it work? Justify a flex end. That's going to be no, to the right. Margin top. Auto.
I'll add directly to the card itself.
To the card.
I will align items flex end. So in this way,
all the content is. I think it's just
flex end. Sorry, justify. Yeah, it's not
all,
flex direction row. Yeah,
it's always like that. We try one and then we switch to another one if it doesn't work.
Yeah, and the thing now here is that you need to wrap the name into a view because you are going to add multiple things inside it, right? So now it's going to work out on this.
Yeah, that's true. I will just change the font, the color, just for us to see it. And if we will need to add some spacing, we can add it on the name. But as Catalina is saying, like later we can add more things in that row, such as, like basically like a footer. So it's better to start by creating this view with style footer. And that will have currently only the name inside, but later we can add other things. So for the footer, we're going to have some padding. And here we have it. I'll change the font family here to an inter bold maybe, or semi, but bold I think is okay. And should we do some kind of gradient background transparent to make the name more visible? Because right now, like if the background is light, like it's not going to be very visible.
Yeah, sure. We can definitely do it. You first need to install Expo Linear Gradient.
Yes, Expo Linear Gradient. Let's go ahead and install that one.
I have also built in the past React Native CSS gradient. So you can paste CSS gradients. I think it's outdated now, but anyway.
Yeah, that's nice, especially if you're
shamelessly plugging. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So everything good on the stream? I'm not following the live chat, but I hope everything is good. Okay, so now that we have a linear gradient, let's go ahead and just copy it from the documentation. And we will put it also as an absolute. We need to put it after the image to be rendered on top, maybe.
But this is going to be, I think in between the image and the view, yeah.
And we will also do an absolute fill.
No,
Or we can have the content as childs of a linear gradient, or we can do it as absolute fill, self-closing.
No. Just do absolute fill and do top 50% or something.
Top 50%?
Yeah. To basically cut it. Yeah, here to the background styles apply like a top 50%.
Absolute fill object, maybe.
Oh, you should
yeah.
place it afterwards because
yeah.
it's going to overwrite it. It's going to be top 0.
That's true. Okay. And we're going to go from transparent to a darker color. And I think that looks already good. The text now is much more readable than if we don't have a gradient, especially on lighter backgrounds.
You also need to add the border radius to the bottom left and bottom right.
Border bottom left radius 15 and border bottom right radius 15. And I think now it actually can go into its own styles.
Yeah, we can optimize this really deep. It's like to avoid the border radius duplication. You can have a view that's going to contain the card and another view as a sibling that's going to have the shadow. Anyway, let's
focus on the bigger picture. Okay, yeah, I think we are good with a Tinder card. Probably the next step is, instead of having the data here, is to send this data from the screen. So I will start by simply moving the data about the profile to the Tinder screen here, and by simply sending the profile here to, is it a user? Is it a profile? Doesn't matter. It's going to be information about the user. So I can do user. And now in the Tinder card, we're going to receive this user as a property. And of course, we can also define the type for the user, but I'm not really following, like implementing all the types right now. So user can be at least something that has an image and a name. Now let's type our properties with this one, and we will use user.image and user.name here. And now our card should display the same, but it will get the data from the properties. And now it's probably time to generate an array of these profiles and to render them in a list, right?
Yeah.
So let's do users. Maybe I should use ChatGPT to help me with this, or I will simply duplicate it a couple of times. Let's just change some IDs. I'm gonna change some images. I don't know what's there because they are quite old dummy data. And I'm not even sure that they are And now in the Tinder card, if I will just simply send user at position 0, users at position 0, that should render the first one. Okay, so yes, now it works. The next step is going to be to render the whole list, the whole data as a list of Tinder cards. Are we going to use a flat list for that, or?
No. Just a view and render everything inside it and positioned absolute.
With mapping, just to map over
Yes.
everything?
Yeah. You if someone is going to think about performance, you can optimize it and do a slice from that array. And whenever the animation is going to finish, basically you move a card outside. After a period of time, you can remove it from the DOM as well, from the render. But let's not think about the performance optimizations,
sure.
but instead, yeah.
So I'm mapping through all the users, and for every single user, I'm rendering a Tinder card. I'm sending the key from the ID of the object that we're rendering and the data about the user to our card. Now we have them in all on top of each other. We cannot scroll yet, it's not scrollable, but Catalin will tell us the next steps. How should we think about it?
So the first thing is you need to create a stack, right? So everything should be stacked on top of each other. So the Tinder card should receive the total count of users.
Okay.
And also the current index.
Okay.
What index is he rendered? Based on which we can, you'll see. So yeah, first the users count and then the index. So when you map, you get the index and yeah.
So the Tinder card will receive number of cards. And this is going to be users.length, basically the length of the whole array of cards. And the current index or something like that is going to be index. Now we're going to receive this as properties inside the Tinder card. So besides user, we're also going to number of cards as a number, and we're also going to have a current index also as a number. Now we can destructure them from here, number of cards and current index. And based on that, we're going to do some magic, as I guess.
Yeah. So the next thing is you need to position the cards absolute. So the card itself should be positioned absolute. And because the mapping, so z-index, deeper you go in the tree, the greater z-index become, right?
Yeah.
So this means that the first card is going to be behind everything, right? So it's first card, then on top of it is the second one, and so on and so forth. But you'd like to reverse it. So in order to reverse it, you need to apply a z-index, the card length minus the current index. So you swap it, right?
Okay.
So you are going to start from a greater z-index, but decrease it, right?
Okay.
So in this way, you see now Kelsey is the last card, right? Because you positioned it absolute. But if you go and add inline z-index to the Tinder card, z-index, it's equal to the number of cards minus the current index. For the first card, the current index is going to be 0, right? So the z-index is going to be number of cards. For the next one is going to be number of cards minus 1, and so on, so forth. So you're decreasing the z-index. You're starting from high number and decrease it. Okay, now because we have defined this, we can either create a stack kind of like situation. The first one is going to be really big, and then the next one smaller and smaller and smaller. And we can also send how many cards we would like to display, because if you have, let's say, 20 cards, you just want to have this like tunnel, right?
Okay.
You first card, second ones, and so on and so forth, but you'd like to cap it at a particular number.
Okay.
I don't know. We can create this effect if you'd like, but otherwise we can start with a gesture. I don't know. It's up to you.
Okay. First of all,
What you would like to.
I'm going to go ahead and do a style here to align it in the center, because that bothers me a bit. Justify content
Sure.
center. Okay, and I will even go ahead and hide the stack dot screen. I will hide the header. So options. So, but you were explaining me like this stack, or like to be visible that there are cards behind, but how they will be visible if they will be smaller than this one? Will we shift them somehow like to the left, to the right, or because if the
Yes.
the cards behind will be a little bit bigger, like we will be able to see them.
Yeah, we can scale it. We can scale it, but also try and move it up or down. So what you can do here, we are going to create the same like math formula. You can define a maximum number of visible elements. We can actually display everything all together, but create this infinite like scale it, but also move it a bit, right? So I believe it's better to start with the scale and move a bit, and
Okay.
then we can define how many items to be displayed.
Yeah, and as I
So
understand, like this scale will depend on some parameters. So I'm gonna do them here in line. So just for us to see how that would work without like a lot of math, that's gonna be a transform, right? We're gonna use a transform.
yeah,
And we're
yes,
going
yeah.
to scale, for example, to make them lower. Will we want to decrease the size from the current size, or will we want to increase it?
We need to decrease it, yeah.
To
So
decrease it. So if I'm do 0.5, the whole card and every card is going to be half the size. But we don't want all of them to be decreased in size. We want the first one to be full size, the next one a little bit smaller, and so on. So it's going to depend on the current index. I can calculate based on the current index how much I should decrease from the full size. So if I do 1 minus current index multiplied by 0.1, every the next card will be 10% smaller, the third card even smaller, and so on, right? I hope.
yeah, it's this thing, it's called linear interpolation, or LERP for short. So you so the how to explain it?
We are decreasing the size linearly.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So you can define a range, right? So how to say it?
We can have like an array of different values, and based on the index to take them from there.
Yes, so you basically have the current index of the card, right?
Yep.
And so 0.1. Yeah, I think this is,
Like if we
this is
decrease the
okay. I think this
opacity,
is okay.
if we decrease the
No, this
opacity
is okay.
to see like through them, like we see that every next card is smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah, it's okay. But now you also need to translate the Y.
To translate Y in order to see them a little bit on the top, right?
Yes.
So that's going to be another object here in the transform, translate Y, as well something related to current index, and multiply by how many pixels we want to translate every card. So 10 probably is going to be too little.
And it should be minus because you want to translate them up.
Okay.
And you can also keep for the moment the opacity as well because it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is moving quite nice. Yeah, I think you can decrease a bit the gap itself, right?
Maybe 0.1 is too much. I'm not sure.
I think
there
that
is a
you
missing.
Also need to translate first.
There
You
is
need
a
to
missing.
translate and then you need to scale.
First to translate. That has a difference.
Yes, yeah, because the scale is going to be applied to the translate. Maybe you
I
cannot see
understand.
it here, but yeah, the order matters because now you can also add another translate and it's going to apply the translate to the scale as well.
There was a missing image, but now it's there, so it works. Okay, looks good so far.
I think that you can do multiply it by 30, let's say, or 35. It's too much, I believe.
Okay, something like this, 30.
Yeah, something like this. Yeah. And now you also need to lower the opacity, right? Deeper you go, deeper you go, shorter it gets.
So it's going to be if 1 is for the first card, that means that it's going to be 1 minus current index multiplied by something.
Even more than that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And as Catalina was saying,
Yeah.
like if you would improve the performance here, as you can see, we only can see like around 3, 4, or 5 cards after. So to increase the performance, you would simply stop rendering the other components if they are too far, if their opacity will become basically 0 or insignificant. But we're not going to focus on that.
I would like to stop here a little and integrate animations. So as you can see, there is a lot of math and a lot of hard-coded things, right? And math, especially around the linear interpolation, it can be really complicated. And instead, you can use the interpolate function from Reanimated, for example, to define a particular range. And after that range, when the interpolation is going to be extrapolated, the math is going to be done by that function, right? So what I mean by that is you need to create the active index as a shared value and send it down to each individual Tinder card, right? So you are going to define the top level, a shared value, let's say active index, which is shared value starting from 0. Yeah, here.
I use share value from Reanimated, starting from 0. And we're not going to need the index anymore, right? Because
we are going to need it because based on the index, we are going to define the input range.
Yeah, the index it's simply its position in the list, but active index is which one is we are currently looking at, which one is the first one.
Yes, exactly. Based on which we can define some interpolations and some animations. And this active index is going to be the truth, right?
Yeah.
This active index is going to determine, hey, this is the active Tinder card, but also is going to define some animation within each individual Tinder card. Basically, if you are going to swipe right or left, we can uh, animate the active index from 0 to 1, let's say, with 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and so on and so forth. So everything is going to be animated, right? Okay, now inside the Tinder card, let's create the interpolations, and then we are going to move to the gestures. So Tinder card is going to receive this one, right? Active index. And
it's not number, it's
a shared value by the number, as a number. Shared value, yeah, by a number. And what we are interested, now we have the active index, which is saying which card we are looking at. But the Tinder card can be an index. We don't know exactly the index, right? But we know its own index. So we can define the input ranges index -1 and index +1, right? This is the range that we are interested for each individual card. And apply some different styling, like opacity, for example. So if you go to let's create a use animated style, because we are going to land into the Reanimated world. So define a style as use animated style, and this is basically a style sheet create, like but it's reactive to the animations, to the shared values, right? So whenever a shared value is going to change, the use animated style is going to be triggered and recalculate everything. So here you can return, just return directly an object.
Yeah.
And let's define first the opacity, let's say. So opacity is going to be an interpolate, and we are going to interpolate the active index.
Yeah, let me quickly say is 0.5 and assign the animated card, the animated style, to the existing list of styles that we have here. I think it's gonna come probably here, and I'm not sure what's happening here with the use animated.
You need to return an object.
Do I need to?
It's a method. It's a method.
Yes,
it's a method that's going to return an object.
An object like this. And now I will delete the opacity from the hard-coded one, from the static styles, because we are added it into the animated styles. And let's just see if the opacity is applied, and then we can move on to think about the interpolation. Its value.
Yeah, you are missing the most important part, and that's the view should be an animated view.
Yes, that's exactly. Whenever we have animations, we need animated.view. So where is it? Here. Let's import animated, and let's transform our view that we want to animate to as animated.view. I need to disable probably the intro animation there for the splash screen. Yes, so as we can see, the opacity is applied, but now we can apply the animated values here that will move from one value to another very smoothly. So what we want to do is we want to calculate the opacity, also based on the which card is currently active, which card we are currently rendering, and based on that to get yeah, depending on how close it is to the current one, the opacity should increase. So an interpolate.
Yeah, we are going to interpolate the active index, right? Interpolate the active index, which is the truth, right? Which one is the active?
Dot value.
That value. And then the input range is going to target the neighbors. It's index -1, index, and index +1. So Tinder card, let's say Tinder card number 3 is going to target the Tinder card 2, 3, and 4, right? The neighbors. And what it should happen with the opacity when we are in this range. So for the opacity, this is where some things are going to change in terms of math. So for the opacity, we would like to start when the index, when we are at index -1 is basically the next item, we would like to decrease the opacity. So we are going to, no, decrease the opacity. So we are going to say 1, let's say, and then minus 1 divided by, let's say, 5 items. We would like to display 5 items.
1 divided by
minus
5?
1 divided by 5, yeah. And then the rest we can keep it at 1.
At 1 and at 1. Okay, I changed the name to index just for us to talk about the same stuff. Here, okay. Index. So let us see this one. Okay. Yes, the first one is 1. The next one is a little bit less and less and less. So how this works is taken the currently active index. Well, when you understand interpolation, it's so easy. But explaining it,
sorry. Let me go through it, because I gave a talk at AppJS last year talking exactly about this scenario. So index -1 is the next item, right? Because right now you are index -1 is the next item in terms of the current index, right? So you're moving in the future with the index -1. Index +1 is saying what is going to happen when the current index is going to be decreased. How to explain it properly?
If we're past that. So I don't know, maybe I can bring like some cards, we can show like some explanations. But basically,
but in a nutshell, index -1 is the next item from the current index. Basically, when you animate any active index from 0 to 1, right?
Yep.
The index is going to move on the right-hand side. So it's on the index +1 range. And when the active index is going to be decreased, you are going to come from a bigger number to a lower number in terms of index. Maybe it's so hard without me having some physical. But the idea here is that you're just specifying because this is the extrapolation. It's extending. It's going beyond this range, right? So the reason why, let's say, the 5th item is still visible is because the interpolate was guessing the number, not guessing, but approximation. Approximated. It's an approximation. It's not it might be the real number, but it's an approximation. What's going to happen when I'm index 5, right? It's going to, so now you have 1 minus 1 divided by 5. But for the next item, it's 1 minus 1 divided by 5 minus the previous value. So this is going to
create a linear graph, let's say, of opacity.
It's exactly like Fibonacci, right? It's adding the previous value to the current value. But now if you are going to add the scale, let's go with the scale because it's easier to visualize it.
Okay.
So with the scale, it's going to interpolate the same active value, the same input range, index -1 index and index +1.
So if I add here the scale is going to be also an interpolation of the active index value. The first array is the input range. So it relates to the active index. So we are going to have like, again, like the previous card, the current card, and I mean the next card, the current card, and the previous one. So how should the card here in the second range, we're specifying what should be the scale value, like to what range we want to map. So when, for example, in the middle, this is the easiest one, because in the middle, it's how do we want the scale of the item that we currently see in front of a stack to look like. The scale should be 1, so I'll put 1 here. For the first range, how do we want it to look based on the, how do we want the next card in line to look like? The next card will be smaller in size, so probably it's going to be also something like 1 minus 1 divided by 5.
No, that's the trick. That's the trick. So the thing is that we did the 1 minus 1 divided by 5 because we would like to cap the items to 5 visible items.
Yeah.
So that 5, it's how many items you would like to make visible.
Yeah.
But with the scale is different. We would like to let Interpolate do the math for us. So we will say, if you are the next card, you are scale 0.95.
So here 0.95.
Yeah, something like that. And now the Interpolate is going to say, okay, so we are at the active index 0. We are the index, right? Index minus 1 is going to have 0.95. The next card is going to have 0.9. The fourth card is going to have 0.85 because this is how Interpolate works, right?
Unless we say that this should be the only range, unless we, how's it called, capping?
Yeah, extrapolate clamp.
Yeah,
but
clamping.
We don't want to clamp it.
Yeah, we don't want to clamp it. And that's good because you think in a very short range and you say like everything else, like calculate based on what I can visualize in my memory, in my head. So
exactly,
the one that comes in front, do we want to leave it as 1 or do we want to increase it a bit in size?
Yeah, just leave it as 1.
Okay.
Leave it as 1. Yeah.
Okay. But do we need that 1 and 1? I think we need, or the other solution would be to clamp it on the other way. But I don't want, we will not get into that.
We can clamp it. So extrapolation can have extrapolate left and right. So we can say extend on left, but clamp it on right. But keep it as it is now.
It makes more sense.
Because on index plus 2 is going to be 1 as well. Because the previous value is 1. So there is no math to do. Right?
Yeah. So I will remove a scale that we have here. And let's see our interpolation for the scale.
Yeah. And I believe the transform it's is not working in this case now.
Oh, the second one. Maybe I'm overriding it because it's also transformed.
Exactly.
And it's an array.
You have 2 transforms, yes. Yeah. So let's move the translate as well, because so translate y is going to be the same interpolation, but this time for the index minus 1 we can say, I don't know, minus 30.
Okay, so translate y is going to be interpolate. We are going to interpolate the active index value from the same range.
Yes.
To the values. So again, like the one in the middle is the easiest one. It should have 0 translation. It should be exactly in the position it appears. The previous one should be a little bit to the up. So that's a minus, right?
Yeah, minus 20 or minus 30.
Minus 20, like, and the other one we'll keep it 0 as well.
Yeah. So in this way, the next one is going to be minus 20. The second one is going to be minus 40. So it's like, it's based on the previous. Yeah. So I believe, you can. So now you see there is no math involved. You just define a range and based on which, is going to be.
Yeah. Especially like in more challenging map interpolation, like having the interpolate function like makes more sense like after you understand like how things work. Okay.
Yes, yeah. Um, so now we have this the cards, right?
Yeah.
And now the thing is that in the future we might need the translate y to be different, right? So how to say it? Is the pan gesture going to work only on the x-axis?
I don't know. um I think so.
I don't
uh,
know how Tinder is working. Let's do it only on the x-axis.
yeah, like if you
Uh,
swipe left, like it will move left into.
yeah, okay, cool. So now we need to include the pan gesture, right?
Yeah.
So the pan gesture, we are going to use gesture handler from software measure as well. So on the Tinder side, so uh, uh, we are going to wrap the entire Tinder list with a gesture detector. So the entire
So the entire list, we are going to put it into the gesture detector.
yeah, this one is going to work only with one child, I believe. So I think that you either can wrap the entire view or just wrap the map into another view,
Mm-hmm.
whatever works for you.
I think this
So
one will work, and we can simply not to have a stack information there. I'm not sure if it will have any
it's
implications.
not going to affect.
Yeah.
It's a shadow node, yeah.
Okay.
So
And
gesture detector, it's a component that's going to receive a gesture. So the gesture can be a list of gestures, can be whatever, but it should be some gestures. And the for the gesture, we are going to use the pan gesture. So you can import gesture detector, but also gesture from gesture handler.
gesture or
Yes,
directly pan
just
gesture.
gesture. No. The gesture.
Okay. And we define it in our component as
A const pan, I don't know,
it's a handler, so it's going to be gesture dot pan
pan,
here.
which is a method.
And yes, it needs,
Yeah.
it has some
And,
callback functions, or it also has directions. I learned about that recently.
uh,
Oh, that was a fling. No, that was a fling animation. So
yes, yeah, only the fling has direction. With pan is different. So what we can do here, we have a couple of methods, right? We have on begin, on finalize, on start, on end, right? So we each individual function here is going to receive the event. The event is going to be where the touch happened. So to remove any confusion is like there are two methods that have a counterpart method as well. Like on begin, counterpart of the on begin method, it's on finalize. So if you are going to do, let's say, uh, the pan it's active, you are going to set it on begin, you need to unset it on finalize. And the same applies for on start. You have on start, and the counterpart it's on end. Those are the gestures that are going to define start and end, right? And then you have the on change event, and also there is on update, I believe, but on change we are going to. So uh, uh, I hopefully there is not that much. Is everything okay so far?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm listening. I'm hearing. I hear about this. I'm doing a console log just for to show people when these things are being called. What's the difference between the on begin and one start?
Yeah, so on begin, it's exactly when you touch the screen.
Okay.
And on start is when the pen gesture is triggered.
Okay. Because, yeah, not all, maybe like a tap is not going to be detected as a pen gesture. So on start will be called only when the gesture is being detected. Like, okay, we understand
Yes.
this is a...
When yeah, exactly when the pen gesture is going to be called, actually. So yeah, you and now because we have created a gesture, we can pass the gesture. Yeah, exactly.
So if we look
Uh,
here, we're gonna, not here, come on. We're gonna say, I'm gonna start panning. So we see at the top on begin being called, then the pen gesture is detected and the on start event is called. Then as long as I'm panning, this function is being called with the event that contains information about like how much we moved, where we moved on the screen, and at the end we have, as Catalina was saying, like the counterparts of the first functions. So first, like the last one was on start, so to finish it, it's going to call the on end, and the on
yeah.
begin is going to end with the, actually on end here, I'm not sure.
It's
Oh
on
yeah,
finalize. Yeah, you misspelled it.
yeah,
So yeah,
it
the
should be
console log
finalized, the
it's
last one.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So basically on finalize is saying there is no pen gesture anymore.
Okay. So which one will we need? Probably not all of them.
So not all of them, but the most important one is definitely the on update,
Mhm.
pretty much. So
On change.
uh, on change. So there is a thing, right? Uh, how to say it? So on change is going to give you like everything that has changed. But
Mhm.
there is another method called on update
Mhm.
that's going to give you how much was updated.
Mhm.
So in addition to the on change event payload, you are going to have access to two different quite important variables, which are uh, change X and change Y.
Mhm.
Uh, in the past, a lot of developers that are trying to do gestures for the on start event, they had to, or on begin event, they had to
Memorize
memorize the position, right,
and
and pass
then
it as a
subtract.
context. Pass it as a context, and when the on change was triggered, uh, you are going to add on the translation X or Y the context. But we don't need to do that anymore, right? You have translation X and translation Y, which are going to do this math for you, but you also have the change X and change Y.
Do
Oh
we
man,
still have it on the on change event? You said that that's gonna only be in the on update, but I see from the types that it's there, so I just want to have a look at.
I think on update you don't have the change X and change Y.
On the on update. Oh yeah,
Yes.
you meant that's why we need the on change, because it also has the change X. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
We can use anyway either of them. It doesn't matter
No,
because we
yeah,
are
we're
going
gonna use the one
to
that's easier.
take yeah, we are going to use from the event only the translation X because this is what we are interested in, right?
Okay.
So uh, the event is going to have a translation X and is going to say, as long as the gesture is active, how much have you moved on the X axis.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, yeah, you can console log here the translation X, and you are going to see that if you swipe, let's say you are going to have like
If I
if you
swipe
pan, you
left, it moves like to a lower number, and if I swipe right, it moves to a higher number. And it doesn't matter where I start. Even if I start very, very far right and I move, like it detects like how much I moved there. So it's relative
yeah,
to where we
translation.
start.
Uh,
It's relative to the point where we start the panning. or no?
Okay, can you give me more info? What do you mean by where you start?
So if I start from the middle of a screen and go halfway to the right, that's gonna be like, I don't know, half of a screen. The translation will be half of a
Yes,
screen.
yeah, yeah.
If I start from the
So
beginning, it's gonna. Yeah.
this is going to calculate based on the start position,
Yeah.
and the start position it's 0, right? So
Yeah.
this is how it is. The translation X and Y is going to keep reference for the beginning, right?
Yeah. Perfect.
So with this translation X, what we can do now is we can define another shared value.
Yeah.
Let's say a translation X that's going to start from 0. And while we are receiving this event for the from the gesture, we can change the value of that translate X to be the event translation X. So translation.x value is equal to event translation X.
Yes.
Amazing. And now we basically modify, right? We modify the translation X to be where the finger is.
Yes.
And we can pass this translation X shared value to each individual Tinder card and do something with it.
Okay, so I send it there. Let's go to the Tinder card. Add it as an extra property here, translation X. Again, I'm doing the same mistake. And let's destructure it from our array. And based on that, probably we're going to translate on the X axis the first card, only the first card. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Here you can add a translate X. And translate X, we can say if active index.value is equal to index, which means that we are where we are.
Mm-hmm.
We can say if this is the case, it's translate X.value. Otherwise, it's 0.
And this way, because we have a conditional, it's only going to be applied to the first to the card that is currently on top of the whole card. Initially, this is the card at position 0, but as we swipe, we're gonna move. So just like that, we can drag and drop this card on the screen.
Yeah. But notice that you can move it, let's say, like that. So if you release the gesture, you're not going to come back, right?
Yeah.
So we can add this as well. So if you go back to the gesture, we know that we are going to enter, let's say, on finalize.
In the
We
on
can
finalize
do on end. Just do on end. On end.
Let's reset the translation X value to 0.
But not like that. You can do with spring, to 0.
Of course.
So, and it's going
because if it's like that, it's going to simply jump back when I release. Well, we don't want it to
snap
jump
directly to place. Yeah. So the with spring, if you define with spring to 0, what's going to happen is going to animate from the previous translation X, which is, I don't know, 200 to 0 with the spring. So
and just like that, it doesn't jump. It moves there.
Yeah, for me, it's really hard to see the simulator. But hopefully the animation is going to work.
It's smooth. Yeah, like the spring animation works perfectly.
Okay, cool. So now the card is coming back, right?
Yeah.
And what we would like to do is we would also like to rotate based on the position, right? So if you pan it to the left, we would like to rotate it with minus some degrees.
Yeah.
If you move it to the right, we would like to rotate it with plus some degrees.
Let's start it simple. So a rotation is also a transform, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a separate transform. Rotate Do we rotate X, Y, Z?
Uh,
It's always.
yeah, so in 2D, you need to rotate Z.
Okay.
Oh man, if I had something to draw. So basically, Y it's vertical, X it's horizontal, but Z is what you see basically
And you
in
rotate
2D.
around that Z. Like I need time to
Z
visualize
Z is
everything.
saying Z is saying move it like this.
Yeah.
Y is saying move it like this,
Okay.
and X it's saying move it uh, like a roll.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know how
Yeah.
to say.
Okay. So now if I have rotate Z 30 degrees, I see that it rotates right. If it's minus 30 degrees, all of them rotates left. So we're gonna need to interpolate from, or no, we can use directly the translation X, right? Because that is a shared
Uh,
value.
yeah. We can
But still interpolate because
yeah, we can interpolate and we can define a range from I don't know, minus we've divided by 2, 0, and we've divided by 2, right? So this is the maximum range that you can swipe.
yeah. So
So the
we
width of the screen, sorry.
interpolate the translation X
Yes.
and the values that is gonna. So the translation X can be. Can we do minus 1, 0, and 1? But no. It should be minus screen size.
We can do it, right? It's you need to define the caps, the tail and the head.
Yeah.
So you can define, let's say, how much you like to move. Basically, if you move it all the way to the left, which is we've divided by 2, let's say, you would like to when you are with the finger at minus width divided by 2, you would like to have minus 30 degrees,
Okay.
right? But in between, you'd also like to animate it. So if you are starting from 0, it's 0, but then further you go, you'd like to have it maximum 30 degrees. So
can I use the Tinder card width divided by 2, not exactly the screen width?
of course, you can use whatever, right?
And on the left is gonna be minus 30, in the middle 0, and then 30 degrees. And we simply append like the degree here. Is there a different way, or that's how it works?
No. This is how it is.
Okay. So now if I swipe left, yes, all of them are rotating.
Yeah.
So we need to
because
this one.
the same. The same active in this.
Yes. If then it's going to be this one.
Yeah.
We could add it also like inside here, but yeah, I think we can.
You can move it even deeper. Yeah, so you can only affect the current one only by but it's more math to do, more things, more props to pass. But I believe this should work, right?
Yes, it goes. What does your designer's eye say?
It's too much.
It's
I
too
think
much.
yeah, that's why it's better to not rely on the card, but rather on the screen width. So you can say, if you are with the finger at the edge of the screen width, I would like to have it, I don't know, 50 degrees or something, right? Because you don't know exactly the card width. Or maybe you can also define it based on
so I can go with a screen width. Because it will make more sense because the gesture is happening on the screen. It's not necessarily happening on the card. So I can do screen width, and maybe, as you said, 30 is too much, 15.
Yeah, I think 15, it's okay.
Yeah,
shouldn't
I
be
think
that
it's
much.
more natural.
We can, of course, do math, right? So longer you go from the initial point, we can calculate the angle using arctangent, but I think it's too much for this
Yeah,
live stream,
definitely.
but we can definitely do it.
Okay, so now the movement, the gestures are working properly. I think
Yes.
in my opinion, the next step would be to understand and to change the currently active index, basically to
Yes.
display the next card.
Yeah. So one thing, what we can also do, change the active index, right, while we pan it.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to define the ranges. It's minus screen width divided by 2 to screen width divided by 2, right? That's the range.
Mm-hmm.
So closer you go to the edge of the screen, we are going to increase the active index. So if you go to the gesture pan here.
Can I just ask you, does that mean that we shouldn't think about active index as 0, 1, 2, 3? We should think about like how close it is to 1. So a 1.5 is going to be the moment between the first and the second card in the middle. And that will also, because we are using the active index to drive animations, as we will swipe, the next ones will start basically moving towards us, increasing in size, increasing the opacity. So this way, like the active index shouldn't be like a very fixed, like 0, 1, 2, but a value that moves through this range, right? Like a progress.
Yes. Yeah. So based on the translation X, we can change the active index.
Yeah.
From incrementally, like with decimals, right?
Yes.
So for the on-change event, what we can do now is, let me think about it for a sec, because, okay.
We are going.
So we need to also clamp it, I believe. No, we don't need to clamp it. Okay. So
will the solution be different if now we don't do that? We simply change the active index to 1, 2, 3 to have like these jumps, and after that we can think about how we can animate, or do you think it's better to start with animated?
No. Yeah. Just to move from one index to another, and then we are going to do this interpolation. So
that should happen
we
when
need
we end the animation, right?
no. We need to yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You're behind. Yeah. So for the on end event, we need to get the on end event has the velocity. So based on the velocity, we can calculate, hey, is the user actually panned it really fast?
Mm-hmm.
If it's the case, we can move it away, right? We can change the translate X using the decay. Well, actually, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we can use decay. So we can say on finalize, we are going to get the velocity.
Yes.
And we are going to say if the absolute value of that velocity, because velocity can be negative as well. So velocity is acceleration, right?
Yes.
So we can say
I console logged it. I console logged it, and I showed when I drop. I mean, I lift the finger when I'm swiping very slow. The value was minus 175, and when I did it very fast, it was around 3,000.
Yeah.
So based on that,
yeah, I think 800. I think 800. It's a nice spot. So we'll say if the absolute value of the velocity x it's greater than, let's say 400. Let's do 400 for now. We can play around with it. Now we are in the case where the users pan really fast.
Yeah.
So we would like to change the translation x. So we are going to say translation x dot value is equal to width decay
towards an extreme, right? We need to swipe it like either to the right or to the left completely, depending on.
Yeah, this is done by the velocity x. So the decay, it's velocity acceleration based. So this is an object, right? So an object and where we can pass the velocity. So as the key velocity x
Mm-hmm.
and pass the velocity here.
Yeah.
And yeah, just try it like that because we need to clamp some variables and things like that. So
Like if I drop it very fast, like it moves like really far, but if I drop it slowly, it
yeah,
continues to move, but it stops.
yeah, it stops. Yeah, it's okay. So what?
Oh, so with decay, I just realized I didn't use the with decay, but that basically means like continue the movement starting with this velocity, but reduce it like until it reaches zero, right? So it looks like a ball that is rolling and started to slow down.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
Uh,
And
but what we can do is actually use also with Spring here.
mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if let me check the documentation. Yeah, we cannot use the with timing. But what we can do is we can we can use with Spring as well and pass the velocity there. So uh, uh, if you say with Spring, let's say,
Let's try that with Spring. And the with Spring.
you, you need to go to a value, right? And in order to find the value, you need to get the sign of
Yeah.
the velocity, which is minus or plus. So you can do math dot sign.
Event velocity to understand if it's moving right or left. And then
Yeah,
we will
this is getting
multiply.
minus or plus by some value, and I think the value can be the screen width.
Mm-hmm.
So we would like to move it away from the screen.
I don't have it here, but I can.
Just do 500
Okay.
or something.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
You can hard code it for now.
Okay. And does it also have
So
some?
now we move it, and for the config you can pass the velocity.
Okay. Velocity.
Velocity it's event dot
Event.
velocity x.
Okay. Yeah. Now they are moving away from the screen. I think it looks nice.
Yeah, it's better. So I wanted to show the decay because in this way, maybe you don't want to make them outside of the screen, always
Yeah.
visible. But yeah, okay. So now when this this spring actually ended, we
And
can
there is a callback function on the with Spring on end.
yeah, but we don't want to use it.
Okay.
That's the thing because the spring it's really hard. Is not deterministic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to actually determine when it's going to finish. So
Yeah.
it's not deterministic. And instead, what we can do is we can interpolate the translation X and change the active index based on the
Mm-hmm.
500.
And that
That makes sense.
would happen also in the on end or outside?
On end. Yeah.
On end. So we need to change the active index dot value. Here I didn't understand fully. So active index dot value, we need to change it to the next one.
Yes, yeah. So here you can do interpolate as well. You are going to interpolate it, translate the which one to interpolate? Yeah, you can interpolate the translation x value, and the range is going to be minus event velocity multiplied by 500, 0, and uh, the absolute You can do, yeah, you don't care, right? Actually, you care. No, you don't care about the direction, right? So
Yeah,
it can be
it always go to the next
interpolated.
one.
Yeah, so you can interpolate directly the absolute value of
Oh, yeah,
velocity x and 0.
yeah. So what we want to do is like when the translation is all the way till either side, left or right, we want to move to the next index. And
Yeah.
the output is going to be
Active index dot value plus 1 and 0.
active index dot value plus 1 and 0. I'm a bit skeptical that this will work, and if it does, maybe I don't understand something, but let's see. So we are on the Danny card. If I throw it away, and I'm gonna explain in a moment like why I'm. Come on.
I'm not seeing like 60 FPS, but
For
let's see
some
if this
reason,
is
I also
working.
don't have 60 FPS. After swiping the first one, it stops. You know what? Why I think
It's the reason is because you haven't multiplied with 500. So you can define here the translation x is different, right? Translation x you
translation here. Do I need to multiply?
yeah, so the translation x is going from velocity x multiplied by 500, right? No, so translation x, you can interpolate translation x, but the input range is going to be the absolute value multiplied by 500.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I believe in order to make it even more realistic, you can decrease the 500 to be half or something. But let's see if this is working.
No, it stops.
I cannot see
Let me
your
explain like
sound.
my thought like
Yeah,
why
go.
this might not work. Basically, this one and event is being called only once. Here, in a way, we are kind of scheduling the change of translation x, and we are
Gotcha.
calling and we are using the translation x right away to calculate a single value. So it's not going to update every time the translation x changes. And that's why initially I thought like maybe it should be outside, like whenever it changes, or like a effect,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
maybe it shouldn't
You are
work.
right.
Yeah.
You are right. So we need to extract it outside this interpolation in a derived value. So we are saying you can use
So if active index is not going to be a shared value, but rather a derived value, is it use derived?
no. You can leave it as a shared value, but
Okay.
then you can have a use derived value. Don't assign to anything.
Okay. Sorry.
Just here use derived value
For example,
without any
maybe at the top,
constants.
use derived
After translation, x, yeah, exactly.
value.
This is a method that's going to return another value, which is going to be a shared value. But we can also change things here. Yeah. So here it's an object, and you can return the interpolation. The active index dot value it's equal to no, just active index. Active index. This is more like a use effect.
Okay, so I don't have to return. I have to just set it.
Yeah.
Does it also have some dependencies here, or it knows what it depends on?
It knows you can also define the dependencies, but now you don't have access to velocity. So instead, what you can do is you can have the input ranges. Let's hard code everything minus 500, 0, and 500. And you can also interpolate the absolute value of translation x and just do 0 to 500.
Translation x 0 to 500 here. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got what you mean. So instead of having two things here, I can do math.absolute, right? The absolute value is going to go from 0 to 500. If it's 0, it should stay 0. If it's 500, it should move to the next one.
Yes.
Oh, come on. And what do we do with this use derived value?
Nothing really.
Oh, nothing? Okay.
This should change the active index when translation X is going to change, hopefully.
Something is happening with I see that something is happening with the previous ones. They are coming up, but with the first one, something broke.
The first one.
On change with translation. If I don't have this one, it works. But if I have this use derived value, maybe the active index. Oh yeah, you know what? The active index changes and it become the checks that we have in our Tinder card, where we check should it apply animations or something here, where we do active index.value equal index. Now, because the active index is not 0, 1, 2, 3, it can be 0.5. It doesn't work like this. So probably we should look if the difference between them or how. If it's close enough, if the difference is less than 1.
I cannot see the screen exactly. I don't know exactly what I know what's happening. Kind of like I'm trying to compile it into my head. The thing is that when you change the translation X, the items are going to move closer to you. That's for sure. But I think you can do it differently. So on finalize, actually, when you have the spring thing.
But anyway, I think the problem.
You just comment this part here because it's not needed. Just comment it because we are going to bring it back.
Yes.
But now if you go on the I think it's on end
on
here
end,
yeah. On the with spring, let's do the callback here.
Yeah, let's do like if
callback.
I need to go throw away the card and simply increase the active index dot value to active index dot value plus 1.
Yeah, but you have the callback anyway for the with spring if you'd like to use it.
Yep.
So you can have the third argument
Yes.
As a callback. And this callback, it's I think you also receive the is finished as a param. So you can check if it's finished, increase the index.
Finished, yes. So if finished.
And instead of snapping directly to active index plus 1, you can do with spring as well to active index value dot plus.
Yeah, but if I'll do that, I think we're gonna get into the previous problem. But we can think about how to fix that as well. So we can do the with spring towards that direction. And if I go there, active index.
It should work. Is not working, or I cannot see like there are so many dropping frames.
It's something is working. But first of all, the problem that we currently have is that now that the active index is a floating number, our checks that we are doing inside the Tinder card, whether to animate, even like for the gestures, they are not going to work. Because the value is not going to be exactly equal to the index. It will be something close to the index. But we have equal sign here. So as soon as the active index become not 0 but 0.1, this check is not going to be applied. It will think like, oh, it's not the first card. And so for that reason, I think that we need to do if active index.value minus index, if that is less than 1, that means that we are maybe not less than 1, but something like that. Like if it's in this range, and I will actually extract it into a variable. Should I do it?
But the thing is that you are animating the active index only after the spring has finished.
Right? I'm animating only
So
when the spring is finished, so it shouldn't impact that much.
I don't know exactly what's happening. So what was the issue? Because
okay.
So translation X is not working, or?
Let me share the screen on Zoom maybe for a second.
No.
Can you see it?
I'm trying to compile it. Yes, I can see it. Okay.
Wait a second. Active index equal to index. So this one works.
Okay.
If I drop it,
yeah,
it takes a lot of time for the other cars to move up, towards
because
us.
spring is not. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And now what's happening?
And now the one on top stays on top. Probably we should simply not render it, right? Because we see that the one behind is started to animate. I think in the Tinder card we can check if
we can interpolate the active index for the translate text. Now I get the issue. So what we can do if we can say interpolate active index.value.
Where? What if we say that if this card, if current index is larger than the index of a card, simply not render anything? For example, if active index.value is more than the index, return null. What's going to be the problem there? Maybe I'm not seeing something. No. Active index.
So you need to keep in place the previous value, right? So you need to move the next, if you have already went from the first index to the next one,
yeah,
the previous index should be out of screen, right? So what you need to do is you need to interpolate the active index for the translate text. So instead of this equal sign, instead of this equal sign, you can interpolate the active index, pass the ranges index -1, index +1. And index -1 should be index. Okay, you saved it. Yeah, sorry. So the output range should be for the index +1. It should be minus screen width. So it's outside.
Yeah.
And for the index -1 is going to be translation x.value. For the current index. So it's 0 for the index -1, and for the index it's translation.x.
Okay. I'm gonna stop a bit the screen sharing to see your face.
But this is not going to work, isn't it?
It has a very beautiful animation. Do you see it?
Yeah, because you need to clamp it.
So the current index should translate on X.
And I believe that now you can do the let me think about it. So you have X. Yeah, you can say do this interpolation only if the active index value is less or equal than index. Otherwise, it's 0.
Otherwise 0. So that's weird. If active index. Am I sending properly the indexes there? Hopefully, yeah. So active index value
is
0. Starts from 0. No, if it's more or equal.
more or equal.
Yes. Now only this one is applied. If I throw it, the cards come in front.
I don't know what's happening exactly.
Is
this
weird.
working?
It's hard to explain. But yeah, let me refresh. Go to Tinder. So here, now it works properly. It targets only this one. If I throw it away, it takes a bit of time for the spring to finish. It takes more time, but after that happens, the cards are moving forward. And there is a blink there. I think that the opacity of the first card is still not properly set. And I think we will have to do the opacity not based on the active index, but based on the, or no, it should be on the active index.
Can you do it again here to see it?
And when I start
so
the swiping, the previous card or another card appears. Oh no, actually we see there only the second card.
Oh, okay. So can you go back to the Tinder.tsx and instead of changing the index on finish, do directly active index.value it's spring after the translation value with spring. So not as a callback, but change it right away.
Okay, after doing this with spring, we can also change the index. For some reason, okay, it moves to the next item, but it's hidden. And this one that we see currently on the screen, this is actually the second one. That's why it has this opacity. So basically, when the second item is active, it's hidden here. And if I start panning, it appears. And it stays here. So probably some translation. Yeah, the translation. After we finish, we set the translation to 0.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh damn. Yes. Yeah, we need because now we don't have any. Yeah, it makes sense. But now you need to also move this translation X with spring 0
This one here.
On the else statement. So the first line after the on end, you're setting the spring to 0.
Okay. Yes.
So this should be on the else branch.
On the else, but wow. If it's finished, it should go to 0.
Yeah, this is okay. So this is okay.
Okay.
But the this spring should be on the else branch.
Here on the else?
Yes. No. Here on the main if statement.
Oh, on the main if statement. Yes.
So if the velocity is not big enough, just go back to 0.
Yes. We just have
Otherwise,
to
do something.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna test first. Not swiping it all the way, it should come back. Now swiping it all the way.
But why is this? I don't know exactly what's happening.
You know what's happening? Like we set the translation X to 0 only when the spring finishes, and the spring takes some time to finish. And while we are waiting for that,
and the reason for that is yes, I think we need to add
A different property, something.
Yeah.
Let's active index.
Let me think a bit. Thank you.
I understand, like it should be hard for you when you're not like hands-on with the code. Yeah, it's difficult, like because when you're hands-on, like you're testing, trying different stuff until it works. But yeah, like having to think ahead, like everything, like must be challenging.
Yeah,
But we're gonna
the
get
problem
there.
is that we have two values, right, that we're playing with. And based on those two values, we are animating everything.
The translation and the active index.
Yeah, so I think that so the thing is that you can achieve it differently, but I didn't want it to have the gesture on every Tinder card, but instead I wanted to have a single gesture that's going to wrap the entire list, right? This is the problem. And what you can do instead is move the entire gesture to each individual Tinder card and enable the gestures only when the active index is it's equal to index. That's it, right? So I believe I cannot compile that much in my head what's actually happening. So if you swipe to the left, the translation is changing. And what's actually happening, if you can explain it to me?
Let me, yeah. So sharing the screen. If I swipe to the all the way to the left, it takes a bit of time for the translation X to change back because the spring animation takes some time. For example, it takes a second. So the active index will be changed to 1, but the translate is not yet reset to 0. So we will have to wait until the first card moves all the way to the left and only then reset the translation X to 0 to show the next card.
Gotcha. Yeah. This is a more complicated part. So I believe you can fix it by having two different indexes and two different translations X for the current card and next card. So in this way, you are not going to affect anything. But what you can do instead, just move directly the entire gesture, copy paste everything for each individual Tinder card.
The gesture, right, to mold it on the Tinder card. Let's do it probably here.
Yeah.
Let's also import the...
You can also create a hook, for example, but this is, too much maybe for the live stream. But
and we're gonna wrap, we're gonna remove basically the gesture detector from here and
move
render
it to
the Tinder card instead of the... Yeah, probably I should simply wrap everything around with this gesture detector, where the gesture is going to be the one that we define above, and at the end we close this one. Yes. So now with it has some missing parts as well.
Which is the translation X, I believe.
No, so far it looks like it has everything.
Yeah, translation X, it's a prop, so you should remove the translation X as a prop.
So the translation X is going to work on the individual card. So we're going to move it from the screen to the card as a shared value. And instead of taking it from the properties, every card will be responsible for its own translation value. I think that makes sense. Probably, I'm not sure like in terms of performance, but logically, the translation probably is every card should be responsible of it.
Yeah, there is no performance impact because if you are going to disable the gesture,
and we will
it's
disable
going to
it
be okay.
with, can we do it on gesture detector?
No, directly on the gesture. So gesture has
Okay,
enabled
cool.
if the active index is a reanimated value. So
I would say if active, it's one,
let's
it's
try it like that. Let's
minus
try it like
index.
that because the thing is that active index is not going to be updated here because it's a reanimated value.
Okay.
So you need to have it as a prop or as a state, right? So as a prop or as a state. As a value as a prop or as a state. Let's try without enabled because I'll think about a solution here. So
now if we go here, everything works here. If I swipe, yes.
yeah,
There is
so now
this is a feature. Do you see it? Like after the car changes, it swipes left and right like very slightly. It's not a bug, it's a feature, you know.
So wait, I cannot see it properly.
Even when I share on Zoom.
But now you don't need this translation X if statement.
The if statement.
Now you can add directly the translation X value. Do not interpolate, do not do anything.
Anything,
Yeah.
right?
Translation
Just
X.
translation X dot value.
Yeah. And interpolate this one it's okay.
For the
and also for the active for the rotation. You don't need it.
for the rotation, I don't need the check.
Yeah, just do directly the interpolation. Because the translation X is going to happen only for the current.
Yes. Every car will have its own, so yeah, we don't need to check if. Okay. Perfect. It works. There is a flickering.
I don't know what's happening.
What?
Why is the flickering?
Yeah, there is this flickering.
I think I know. Yeah, I know because
We are
if you
moving
go
back the translation or what? Yeah. Now that the cars have their own translation X,
you don't need
reset.
you don't need to bring it back, but definitely and you can now use like this and we change it should work. We change the active index here as a global active index. It should work.
Yep. Now if I
don't see
reset, it comes back.
Okay.
And if I swipe left, there is no flickering. It works and I can interact with the next one.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. I wanted to make it too much, I think.
You wanted to make what?
I wanted to target multiple things at once.
Yeah.
This is one problem which I have like daily is like I wanted to optimize as much as possible the things.
No, I think that's fine. Like it's always like that. Like that shows like the real development part of these kind of animations, because not all the paths that we take.
But don't remove that part with the commented code. So bring it back.
From
And now
here with the
let's
derived.
Yes. So now add that part to the Tinder card.
To the Tinder card,
Yes.
somewhere at the top.
Yeah.
And
Because I really like the part where you move left to right and the cards are coming, right?
mhm.
So I think this should hopefully work.
No, no, because it's a bit it's a bit weird that the active index is global, but it's being changed from all the Tinder cards. Uh,
No. It's okay. This is how this is the beauty of a shared value. You can define it globally, and then any component can change it, and it's going to be reflected
yeah, but
everywhere.
every component will change it with a different value based on their own personal translate X.
Yeah, but yeah, it makes sense. Uh,
So maybe
yeah,
we'll
but the translation X, it's happening only for the current index.
so
Anyway, yeah, I think that what you can do instead is you can you can move this interpolation inside the pan gesture uh, on change event. Or let me open the window, please.
on change, yes, on change, active index will do translation. Yeah, I think that makes more sense because this is happening on the event itself. Yes, yes, it works.
Yeah. So sorry, I was thinking too much again. It
But yeah,
should be okay.
now this is happening on an event, and because the event is only happening on the first item, the active index will be changed from here. So now if I move to the left, the next card is already starting to come into place. This is both increasing the scale, increasing the opacity, all the way until it's here.
By the way, you don't need to add active index plus one, but do it active index plus 0.8. So in this way, the opacity is not going to go all the way to one.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So
I think I I have a missing photo. What's the problem, and I think it's above Alice here. Danny,
there
Jpg
is a
one.
JPEG, JPG maybe.
Which one? Which one is not there? Let me see. So the first one with Danny works. Then we
There is
have
a
John.
JPEG.
Yeah,
There is
that
an
one I
E.
think is correct.
Okay.
Then there is this one, but I think doesn't work. No, this one is working. Oh boy, give me just 1 second.
Sure.
No, for some reason, something is going on there. I don't think it's the problem with the images.
With the images, right? Yeah.
But 1 second, maybe I'm wrong. So we have Danny. I move him. Then we have John. Like on the third one, the opacity already is not full.
Okay.
And even like I see the
That makes sense.
scale, like it doesn't come all the way towards us.
Uh-huh.
Uh, on change.
This is because of this active index, right?
Yeah, I think so. Because active index value on end, we are simply doing active index plus one. But what we should do is, because active index value is not going to be
It's index plus one.
it's index plus one, right?
Yeah. Because you are already changing the index on change. And
Yeah.
so you might end up in a situation with 3.2. or
Yes,
something.
now they move
You-
all the way till the front.
Yeah. You could also do math floor
Let me
on
share the
the
screen,
active index.
and you tell me if it's the way you wanted it to look like. Do you see?
Yes.
It comes back. If I go slowly, the other ones are coming into play. It looks like, you see, the farther we go, they're traveling more. Because we are
Yeah.
starting. Wait a second, let me think. Somewhere we are resetting a value. But I think that's a feature, that's not a bug.
No, it's a bug.
No, Catalin. You'll not be able to sleep. Like they are traveling slowly, but when I release, we are kind of moving back where they should come from. When I release, what's happening? The gesture and it goes here, active index value. Index plus
Um, yeah, this is really weird.
translation X. But let's see first of all the traveling is coming from probably including the scale. The scale depends on the active index. So for some reason,
active index. But the opacity is okay, right?
I'm sorry?
The
No,
opacity is okay.
I think all of them are.
Uh-huh.
They're like traveling from their original position towards us. And because
Can we
this is
remove the spring for the active index and
active,
just do directly active index, it's equal to index plus one?
yes, let's do that. Active index. Look, when I start moving it, at some point when we change it works, but then when I start moving it, it's a bit weird. So that means that we have a if statement here in our styles that we don't need probably, but we don't. Active index dot value. Where else do we change the active index? On change and on end.
Yes.
In the Tinder screen, we never change it, right? No.
Save the translation next spring. And how are we animating those?
Which one?
Wait a second. So
This one, I think, because when I start the onChange event, it moves back. Yes, when I start the onChange event, it moves back, which means that the active index value shouldn't go from 0 to this one, but it should go from maybe index. Wait, because active index for the third element should never be 0. It should go from index.
oh, got you.
It should, if it's was if it's a 0, it should be index. Otherwise, it should be active index plus 0.8 or maybe even index.
Oh, got you. Yes, because we had the logic from the
From the previous
main.
screen, yeah.
Oh, damn.
And now it still comes back. Yes.
Yeah, that was definitely the problem.
Yeah,
The problem was
and
active
I will move
index.
back to the with Spring in order for us to have like this nice effect.
Feels bad, man.
No,
This is like a half an hour animation. I'm completely honest with you, but we actually showcased some really real case scenarios, right? Like what's going to happen when you encounter this issue, right?
yeah.
So yeah, we have debugged it. Yeah, that was definitely the issue
Perfect. Yeah.
because we didn't care that much, right?
Previously.
In the Tinder list, yeah. Uh, and now I think the only thing that you need to know is to have it as a state, the active index. And I think that we can wrap the tutorial afterwards. So
Yeah.
basically what you can do is in the Tinder main list, in the
Tinder.
Tinder component, you can create a state here. By the way, you can stop sharing the screen on
Yeah, yeah,
Zoom.
yeah.
Maybe.
Why should it be a state?
Because based on that state, you can slice the array, you can fetch more data, and you can do a bunch of other things.
Will it still work? Because at the moment it's a shared value because it drives the animation. So if
Yes, you're right, but we can transform it into a state. So how to do that? Well, you can create a use state with I don't know something and set something. I don't know exactly
yeah, yeah,
how to
yeah.
name things.
Okay. Should I leave the active index here and just change the create
Yeah,
as
yeah. You can leave
okay.
it because it's needed.
Um,
Index at index, yeah, starting from 0 again. And now we can leverage another hook from Reanimated.
okay.
And that hook is use animation reaction.
And that's gonna be in the Tinder card.
Yeah, no, not
No,
here.
here.
No, no.
Oh, based on the
Directly
active
on the main
index.
thing.
Yeah, we have the active
Yeah,
index. We have everything we know here. Okay. Use
yeah.
animated reaction.
Use animated reaction. Yeah,
Okay.
and this is going to have a prepare and react. So on here, whatever you are going to return from this method
Yep.
is going to react to it. So
Okay.
you are going to return here the active index dot value. And the next method is going to receive this active index,
Like
the current value and the old value. So you can say here current value and old value or previous.
yeah.
And you can check if those are if the floor of the current value. No, wait a second. Yeah, if math floor of current and math floor of previous is different, then you need to set the index with the
Map.floor of current.
yes.
Yeah, so as I was explaining previously,
Actually, no. Wait, no. It's retarded. No. So if the current value is different than the index, then set the index with the current.
even math floor is different than the
Yes.
index.
It doesn't matter if it's floor or not,
I think,
because index it's always going to be the
but
an
the
integer,
current is going to be the
natural
active
number.
index.
Yes,
Okay.
but that's with decimals, right? It's an integer. It's not a natural number. So it's
Yes.
not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So only when the current it's equal to index, which is basically saying you have swiped.
Mm-hmm.
If that
Is
makes
it
sense.
is it correct as I have it here? Because the current is a floating number, but our index that we just created, we want it to be as a integer, 0, 1, 2, 3. So we
Yeah,
can,
no. It should be core. Core it's different than index. It's a special
yeah.
it's a
By the way, a
special
fun
word.
fact, we are with Catalin from the same part of the world. He's from Romania, I'm from Moldova, but in our society,
We're
we are
speaking
brothers.
we are brothers and we're speaking the same language, yeah.
Yeah,
Almost
exactly.
the same language with
And that's
different
why
inflections.
he's laughing, because this is a bad word in Romania.
Yeah, I think you can do value and previous value. But I wanted to reflect that you have access the current and the previous value, right? But the if statement should be if the value is different than the index. It should not be the floor, because you are going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
modify it one by one only when the animation has finished, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
this is going to crash the app. Don't save it. Actually, you can save it, but don't do any swipe, because in this use animated reaction, in this callback,
Yeah,
you are on the UI thread
yeah.
and you're trying to call some JavaScript,
Yes.
something on the JavaScript thread. So in order to make this happen, you need to import run on JS.
From Reanimated.
Yes.
And we need to,
And you need to wrap the set index with run on JS. No. Directly. No. Directly on the set index. Run on JS, pass set index as first argument, and then call the method. No, no,
function.
no, no. Just so run on JS, pass set index, close the parentheses, and open it again.
So set index, we close the parentheses, and then we call, yeah, okay, I understand. So run on
Yeah,
GS, yeah, okay.
and by the floor
Correct?
value, uh,
Should I do,
no. Wait a second. So the value, if the value is always going to be different. Yeah, you're right actually. So if a floor value is different than the index, wait a second.
yeah, I think we shouldn't update the
Yes, yeah, the
index
floor, the
if,
floor. Yeah,
yeah.
it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah,
And we will need that one, the index for, I don't know, maybe at the
you can
top I'm
console
gonna
log. You
do
can
a
console log the
text.
index. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
So if I go here, I don't know where it is, but probably behind the, the notch.
I think you can position this
Yeah,
absolute as well and
yeah.
bottom, I don't know, 20 or 30 or something. And text align center.
Top. Okay. So current index 0.
Oh yeah.
When I move through them, when I simply swipe, it doesn't change. Only when we actually move to the next kind of integer, only then it moves.
So this is state now, right? And you have access to it on the JavaScript world. So you can do slice, or you can do whatever. You can call, let's assume that if index it's close to the user's length, or I don't know, if let's say you have 5 users and the index it's 2 or 3, you would like to fetch more users,
Yeah.
right? So if you're getting close to the user's length, you'd like to fetch more data, like pagination, right? So you can, you can,
Last 2 cards remaining. Fetch
and
more.
the index should be inside the square brackets.
So now I can even do it as a warn, so you can see it on the screen. With this one, like if we are almost to the end of a list, yeah, it's probably free, but you get the idea. So last 2 cards is being called because we are reaching the end. So probably here you're gonna have some logic of loading more items from your backend.
Can we do it now? And that's it? It's just
The
for
backend,
my,
right?
yeah, just do const users, set users, it's equal to users initially, create another state. And that's it. Then we are going to like
Users, set
and set
users,
users.
use state. Initially, we can initialize it with dummy users. Let's call it dummy. Typo, but it's okay. And you want, when we reach the end, to simply push to this array once again the same users, because we cannot fetch more, but what we can do is we can...
Yes, exactly. We can have users and then return destructure users, and then yeah, you can do users, dummy users, dummy users that reverse to have it differently, right? So Dumu users that reverse to
Dumo
have
users.
different.
And these ones,
Yeah.
again, I'm rushing with with typos and so on. But now,
Sorry.
when we reach the end, we should load kind of more users. And this way should be infinite.
Yeah, you have the same key. Yeah, you need to, instead of users.id, you also need to pass the index.
Index, yeah. So for the key, I can do it like this.
You can directly index, yeah.
Index. Okay. So now we have our infinite list of cards that we can swipe left and right. And maybe just to have like 2 methods that will be called when we decline and when we accept a card. I think this is going to be also important. We're not going to implement any logic or any animation for that, but as a way to understand, or as a function that is going to be called when we swipe left and when we swipe right. That I would guess
it's going to work out of the box, the animation. So just create 2 buttons. That's the beauty, if you optimize everything, just create 2 buttons.
2 buttons where? Or below the list?
Yeah. And one is going to...
The button for what? Accept?
Yeah, accept and whatever.
Okay.
Decline. Just do one, and the other, it's the other way around.
Yeah, I was, but we can do that later as well. So on press, if we press on the yes, we need to change the active index or what? The active index?
Yes.
So active.
Oh, there is no animation, right?
active index dot value plus 1. Oh, active index equal to this one. And at the same time, maybe some math. I don't know. I don't know where is this button. I'll simply add inside a footer that is also absolute position just for us to see it.
Yeah.
Bottom 20. Come on. We don't have what?
Yeah, this is definitely not going to work because now translation exits inside each individual stack card.
But I didn't mean about the buttons. Probably what's more important is a callback function when a card is moved to the right and when the card is moved to the left. Because in that situation, I believe that like if you would implement this in your application, you'd have to call a function like, okay, the user said yes, create a connection. So from the Tinder card, probably that's going to be on the on end. And it's going to be somewhere here, and we will decide which callback function to call. So most probably we're gonna have two functions
amazing.
here.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. No, just one.
Just one on response.
Yes.
And let's do is yes. Console.
You can do a type, right? Type yes or no.
Yeah, I can do that as well.
Like no.
Yes. And no. So console log. Now, this function...
We're streaming for 2 hours, 3 hours.
This function, this is the last thing that we're going to do. This function, we will send it to every single card. We're going to receive it here. It should have a parameter, but anyway. And when we end the gesture here, we can call this on response with the value. We should send here true or false. That will specify if it was left or right. So we can take the same logic here. No. If the velocity
sign of the velocity.
Or the sign of a velocity.
Or velocity, if velocity is greater than 0, it's yes, otherwise it's no.
Yeah, that's true. And this one response is just, I didn't add here the boolean.
But it's not a boolean.
It's not a
type,
boolean.
Right?
Yeah. It's
yes or no.
That's correct. I will do it a boolean. I will simplify it. I will do true or false.
Okay.
Because it's even easier here. And we'll change the boolean here. So if I swipe where, let's see.
But you need to call it, right?
I called it in the Tinder card on the on end. So if I do
with run on JS.
Oh, we need to run on JS because we are inside the UI thread. So we need run on JS. We need to send the function on response, and then we need to call it right afterwards.
Yes.
Let's see. Now if I look here, response true, and if I go to the left, it's false. And in that function, you can have some logic, like to save something in the database or so on. All right, I think I think we are good.
Whew.
It was a tough
Yeah,
one,
it
but
was a rough start, I would say.
yeah, but I'm pretty happy with what we have in the end, and I think a lot of people will get a lot of value just from us going through all of these difficulties, all of these changes. It shows the real way of how to design them and so on. All right. Anything else you'd like to add in the end about this gesture, about anything related to animation?
I don't know. If you're into animations, check animatereactnative.com. Otherwise, subscribe to Vadim's channel. You're doing an amazing job. I'm really happy. I have watched the DEVember
DEVember.
videos, DEVember. So yeah, I think you provide quite a lot of value. And yeah, everyone should subscribe to this channel.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your help. And the community misses you on YouTube.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. I will see what I'm going to do. But otherwise, I'll be at AppJS. I already have the workshop prepared.
Yeah, you're gonna have a workshop,
if anyone
right?
is, yes, about animations with Katkar from Reanimated team, and there is also going to be the creator of Reanimated, Christoph,
Yeah,
to help us there with anything. So if anyone would like to join, go ahead. There is 30% discount or something. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully to see you there,
perfect.
Vadim.
We're definitely gonna see each other there. It's right at my birthday this year of app.js, so it's gonna be a fun experience. But yeah,
Nice.
thank you very much for joining today. Make sure to check out the website is animatereactnative.com, right?
Yes.
Yes, for exciting animations that you can use in your application. Just take it from there, put it in your application, and you're good to go. Your application will look much better instantly. All right, thank you very much, Catalin. Hopefully, we're gonna do more things together in the future. Probably I'm gonna better prepare technically using some other software. But anyway, I think this was very valuable, and thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Vadim, for having me. It was my pleasure.
Okay, and I'm gonna draw the outro. All right, guys, that was DEVember. That was day 6, and in this one we implemented the Tinder Swipe Animation. Thank you for being here